Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ali Murtaza. I've been given this introduction by Marabi Saab in terms of not just deliver the message, but be the message. In my own understanding of like how we do tabligh, first of all, everything that has already been said is very much relevant to the concept of tabligh. And the concept of being the message is that you have to believe, not only believe what you represent, but you have to love what you represent. You know, our motto is love for all, hatred for none. But how do we show that love for all and hatred for none? Are we empathetic towards our neighbor? Are we empathetic towards the people that we meet? Do we show genuine love when it comes to the service of mankind? So in order to actually do tabligh, you have to have a love for mankind, because the tabligh is really, it's not just preaching. You're like a doctor in a sense. You're like a doctor that is basically applying a certain type of medical remedy for the ills around your general area. You know, we look at this pandemic as like one of the things that has plagued mankind. But if you think about it, the only safeguard that we have in the world is basically the teachings of Ahmadiyya. And by doing that, we actually are given a panacea for the real ills that mankind is facing. You know, this is just a wake up call, this pandemic. But in reality, we've been given so many other opportunities to see that like this is a time that we should be very fervent about delivering the message and being able to bring people closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khalif to Rabbi Muhammad rahmatullahi always emphasize the concept of one-to-one tabligh. What is one-to-one tabligh? That means everybody that comes into your circle, that's that one-to-one opportunity that you have to deliver the message, however that message is to be delivered from. You may not be the best. I'm not a scholar by no stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, I'm not shy about representing what I represent. You see, like the thing is, it's like if you're misrepresented in anybody's mind, you need to find out why is that. Clip to Rabbi Rahmatullah is basically you should make yourself attractive, make yourself a instrument of being attractive to other people. How is that? You know, in New York, I live in New York. I worked in the financial district for like over 40 years. And in that 40-year period, no one in my office area never felt that like they didn't know that I was an Ahmadi Muslim. All right. They need to know that you are something a little bit different. It doesn't mean that like, you know, you've got to be, walking around and razzle dazzle, you know, even though there are certain qualities about you that might be a little bit different. And relative to those qualities, people are going to be attracted to you. They may never see that you're angry. They may never see that you are averse to doing something that others are averse to doing. They may see that you go out of your way to try to do certain things to make things like a little bit better. It all depends on your personality and how you perceive yourself, you know, because I don't think that like it's a thing about, you know, being tabligh is not like you take off a suit and you put on another suit. This is a suit that you wear all the time, you know, to be a da'in Allah, to be a call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you have to believe in your prayers. You know, when we say to Allah, Ehdina sirata al-mustaqim, you know, we have to believe in that. We have to believe it to the extent that like when we walk out, whatever our case, whether we're confronted with our family, whether we're confronted with our friends, or whether we're confronted with adversity, we have to always be confident that Ehdina sirata al-mustaqim is being applicable in our life, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears our prayers, answers our prayers, and they are embodied in our every walk. So we have to believe it. We have to believe it with a passion to the extent that like we have an armor that no one else has. And relative to that armor, we can confront anybody on any situation in any terms. Living in New York is not a place that everybody is like easy to live, but I can tell you, there's no place in New York that I'm afraid to go into, whether it's a white neighborhood, whether it's a black neighborhood, whether they had a drive-by shooting yesterday, or whether they had a drive-by shooting right there in front of me on that particular day. There's nothing that makes you afraid to be in an environment, regardless of how adverse that situation is, because you are protected with that armor. It doesn't mean that like you're not going to get hurt, but that pain or that hurt, that's also an opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is opening for you to do something a little bit different. I was recently in the hospital, as Imam said, that like, you know, he met me, came to the hospital, you know, to, you know, kind of cheer me up. And when he came to cheer me up, and he saw that I was in the room with like some of the other people that another person that was in the hospital as well that had an operation, and he saw that like there was a kind of condition that he felt that in that room that made him feel that like it wasn't that was a room that Ali Murtaza was not befriended in. It was a room that that man that was next to me, he became my friend. All right. How did he become my friend? He saw me making prayers. He questioned me about it. And from that, it opened up the door for conversation. And from that door for conversation, it led to the introduction of Ahmadiyya. Very easy. All right. It doesn't mean that he's going to convert. That's not your job. That's not our job. We deliver the message. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only changes the hearts. So we have to just find our way that we can make sure that we are manifesting the qualities that we have already covered in this presentation that has gone forward. But how do you imbibe those qualities on a day-to-day basis? How do you reflect those qualities in your personality? Those are the things that like I represent in the concept of saying, don't just deliver the message, but be the message. Jazakumullah.